Okay. Hi, everyone. We are live. Hello, hello, hello.
What's
Hi.
up? What's up? Facebook family, YouTube family, we are back. So guys, this is chat number 21. We are so excited to be on with you guys this evening. You guys get us back to back. Y'all had us last week for a hot minute, and we are back again with a good conversation. Pretty much for anybody, but specifically for parents with student athletes. Kids that are, playing sports from preschool to kindergarten level, all the way up to high school and college. So if that's you, stay tuned. We have a special guest on with us tonight. And Nico will introduce him shortly, but let's throw it over to Nico let's ask our normal question. Nico, what's going on? How you doing up there, VA girl?
Girl, well, it's been raining here. So it's been cooler, which I like, not the humidity, but the mosquitoes have been killing me out here because of the rain. The mosquitoes. So, but other than that, work's been good. Busy. I'm definitely going to reach out to everyone. I need to fill positions in different areas in Tampa, in Northern Virginia, and in Raleigh, North Carolina. I have a lot of positions coming up. Some positions will require clearances, some non-clearances, but, I will be reaching out to folks and let you guys know about that. So that's what I've been busy doing. How have you been doing, Toy? What's going up with you?
Oh gosh, besides work and, just trying to stay connected with that, I am in the middle of sending 2 boys off to college. I'm so excited. Marcus has an orientation on Saturday, so we'll be driving to his school on Saturday. And then Terrence is figuring things out. He's visiting schools and, trying to figure out what he wants to do right now. So it's really exciting. And PJ's basketball, so summer league. So it's been sports, and more sports. And seeing, their school, work paying off because they're just, they're going in really good direction. So it's fun. Other than that, I got a whole bunch going on. Hopefully, we'll be able to roll it out to you guys over the next couple of weeks. I do want to mention that we have a Journey Right outing coming up here in Orlando on August the 8th. So if anyone is in the Orlando, Jacksonville, Tampa area, and you're interested in having a day of wine, vineyards, and more fun and music, hit me up. Let me know. I'll send you the information, and we'll meet up with you guys in Orlando.
That sounds fun. I don't have wine, but I have cheers. I forgot my wine. But no, that's awesome. That's awesome. So that's going to be fun times. So I am so excited, guys, for our special guest. The special guest, he is Familia, my family, and I'm so proud of him. And so he was able to join us today to we're going to talk about sports and athletes and a little bit about his program. So Kenny, will you want to introduce yourself?
Hey y'all, thanks for having me. Appreciate it. My name's Kenny Sanchez, and we are Familia, and this is an amazing opportunity. I appreciate you girls for letting me come on. I've been a football coach for over 17 years. I actually started coaching football immediately after college. Played high school, played college football. And my biggest dream, obviously, as a kid was to be a professional football player, right? I wanted to be Walter Payton. That's who I wanted to be, right? So, and I won't get into my boring, long story, but it's a really good one because it wasn't a traditional go to high school, get a scholarship, be the guy.
Please share it. Yes. Because everybody's journeys are so different. You think it's just one path that, these kids are supposed to follow, and life happens and other opportunities present. So please share.
Yeah. And, and that's, and throughout the journey, obviously, which life is, right? It's a journey, and and you're supposed to fill your tank with as much memory and that fuel to help you become energized. And then hopefully, at some point you need to give back. That's what it's all about, because with that comes fulfillment, and you kind of don't really realize that until you have children, right? Once you have kids of your own, you this whole bowl of love that's created inside you. And then, for me, I feel like I have so much since I had my son that I want to just give more to everybody else, right? I just feel like it makes you a better person. Not that when you don't have kids, you're not like that, but you're just, you're young, you're fired up, and you just kind of, you don't know exactly what it is that you kind of want to do, and then all of a sudden it just kind of, you know, blossoms for you. But went to high school, was not a good student at all, right? As far as schoolwork goes, I just wanted to play. I just wanted to play football, run track, play basketball, play baseball. That was what I did, and anything else in between was just, well, how do I get a 2.0 so that I can, you know, be eligible for sports? And if it wasn't, the sports wasn't happening, then I just wasn't worried about my grades. And, you know, along the way, obviously, another big reason why I got into coaching is I had some coaches that were really good and they were really good mentors, but I also had some coaches that I feel, looking back, weren't the greatest mentors and could have done a better job, to be quite frank. I don't think people talk about that a lot, but I always felt that I could just do a better job. I just felt that I could care about kids more, or students, and you know, through my journey share. I mean, I always thought it was important that our assistant coaches, that we talk to our kids, not just about football, but about, you know, the trials and tribulations that we went through, so that we were, you know, a byproduct of something that they could see, somebody that they knew, and their journey, and that how they could come from in all walks of life. See, people who did it the right way and got the good grades and went to college the right way, or someone like me who didn't, had to go to junior college and then had to get a scholarship after junior college to a small NAIA school called Bethany College in Lindsborg, Kansas, that nobody probably ever heard of. But for me, it helped me graduate college and helped me keep playing football, right? And then I became a football coach. So at the end of the day, I feel like I did become a professional football something, right? Maybe not a player, but I've been doing football my entire life, and
expert.
To be able, you know, and for me growing up, I didn't have a lot of money, so it was never important for me to be rich. That wasn't my goal. It was, you know, my goal was just to be happy and do something that I really liked and that I really enjoyed and felt that I could, you know, give back. I mean, I asked a kid one time, I said, well, why do you want to play football? Because he just didn't seem like he was doing the things that he needed to do, taking the steps in order to make that happen for himself. And he said, well, I want to be rich one day. I want to go to the NFL. I said, well, that's all the wrong reasons. I said, those are all the wrong reasons. You know, because look, I coach 4 kids that are in the NFL right now. And I'm going to be honest, those guys were probably, well, they're gifted enough by God that they were probably going to go there anywhere, regardless if they met me or not, or our coaching staff. Some people are just, you know, they have it, right? And they got to work hard along the way. But, you know, it's what they do with those gifts that they have. And the ones that don't can work extremely hard to get there. But it's not necessarily what you think that your end goal is supposed to be. It's that you become successful in your own right. Right. It's exactly. And that's because at the end of the day, I mean, if you were a professional football player, you're probably done at the age of 32 anyways. I mean, the average span of a football player is 3 years. 3 to 4 years is average span of a football player. So, I mean, if you go to football, NFL at 23, you're done at 28, 29, you get the rest of your life to figure out what you want to do. So even that was your goal, you know, how do you become successful after that? And so went to college, like I said, junior college in Laney College in Oakland, California, which is a really rough neighborhood. And I was a kid from the Valley. Another great experience to come over there, because I grew up in the Valley, but didn't have a lot, right? So thought I was poor and broke. And then you go into East Oakland, and then you really get to see what broke really is, right? You really get to wake up and be like, oh, okay, so my mom does have a job, and she does actually give us, you know, feed us dinner, and maybe we don't have all the things that we want to have that I think is what broke is. And then you're like, okay, this is really the other side of things, right? And then, and you get to see, I got to be there for a couple of years, and it was hard and it was tough, and kids there it was a tough place to play, and the coaches were tough, and you know, but again, you get through it. You build relationships with people that you never met before. People come from different backgrounds, you know, different areas, and then from there, I go to Lindsborg, Kansas, which is an NAIA school. It's Bethany College. They're the only ones that offered me a scholarship. So I took it. Why? Well, because I wanted to keep playing football. Never even visited the school before I got there. So I'm coming from California to Kansas. And anyone, you know, the Midwest, it's just different, right? I mean, did I like it? No, I did not like living in Kansas. I did not like the tornado. It's, you know, tornado season is like hurricane season, right? They would always say California. Oh, I don't know how you can live out in California. There's always earthquakes. Well, not really. I mean, you might have, you know, it's not like you have earthquake season. Like, in Florida, there's going to be hurricanes no matter what. Every season, there's going to be hurricanes. In the Midwest, there's going to be tornadoes, right? Yeah. So did I like living out there? No. Again, different area, different type of people you meet, right? But I stayed. I was committed to what I needed to do, and I went through the hard times, built everlasting relationships, and then got to keep learning my trade as I went along. And there's many times where I just wanted to quit and go home. Like, I don't want to be out here. I can go back to California and, I don't know, do whatever. But the fortitude to just stay and stick with things. When people stay with things that are difficult and hard, and they face them head up and they run, instead of walking the other way, they run through them. Yeah. Through that light, man, it shines brighter than you'll ever see it before. And then you get older, and we all know in life, right? A couple things are certain. It's up and down, and there's going to be moments in your life where you're just going to get slapped across the face. I mean, when you don't know it, there's going to be some great times and beautiful moments, but there's going to be some dark times too. And we all face those in our own way. And hopefully the journey, that's why I want to get the kids now at their age, let them know that, those things are going to happen. And it's how do you deal with them when they happen? And this old saying is true. Once you quit once, you'll quit forever. Because it just becomes easy. It's easy to do it. Once you have an out, and if your parents or coaches, if they let you quit, then it's just harder to ever get back to wanting to finish something. And it's like I said before, it goes back to, it's not what your end goal in your mind is going to be. It's where you end up with the things, the knowledge that you have before that. So, and right after college, I started coaching right away. My big brother Tony. I got 4 brothers. I'm the youngest of 4. He got a head coaching job in California. So I started coaching right away. Coached at Cal High for 4 years. We had a lot of success there. And then from there, I went off to junior college again. And I went back to the Midwest once I said I'd never live there again. Oh, no. I got a college coaching job at Ellsworth College in Iowa, in Iowa Falls, Iowa.
Wow.
Yeah. And I was coaching in a junior college, right? And most of the kids that we got were from Broward County, because back then, and even really now, there's not a whole lot, but Florida was one of the only states that didn't have any junior colleges that could play football. So those kids had nowhere. The kids that weren't academically eligible to go to college out of high school, and Florida is one of, if not actually, it's probably the most talented state in the entire United States as far as when it comes to just pure talent. Most of our kids we got to come to school and play football were from Broward County, around that area, because our head coach, Mike Verdon, at the time had just come from Douglas High School as the head coach and got the job in Ellsworth. So I got hired as a defensive coordinator there when I was around, I think, 27 or 28. And from there, we won a conference championship. We went to the bowl game. We won a bowl game for the first time, I think, in 20 years. And then my brother got a job out in Vegas at a high school. And at the time, I was like, I don't want to go back to high school. I don't want to teach. I just want to coach. At that time, my path was, I thought, was going to be a college football coach, maybe whatever. I just wanted to coach football. And I thought that was kind of where it led. Well, it was at a place called Bishop Gorman in Las Vegas. And he talked me into it. It wasn't very hard. I've kind of pretty much followed him my whole life, and it's always paid off. So why stop now, right?
I love it.
Yeah. And I'm so glad I did, because, family's so important. And, the older we get, we grow far apart, not on purpose, but everyone has their family. And, it's just hard. It's just hard, right? It's just hard. So you have to cherish those moments that you have. So I'm so thankful that I did. Went there, had a lot of success, a lot of talent was there at that school. It was just, because at first I was like, Nevada football. I never really heard of Nevada football being any good, right? So, we go there, and I think we had 42 kids on the varsity team that year, not a lot of kids. And then by the end, 6 years later, we got 80 kids on the varsity team. We got 60 on the JV. So, we're building a program, and most of that was just, kids want to be led, right? So do I. I think so do we. We want to be led by people that have high energy, that are successful. Even now, like, I'm trying to learn different things, like the stock market or whatever. What do people do? Like, I'll never look at someone who's successful. And I always tell kids, when you see a nice car or a big house, or you see somebody in a nice suit, how do you look at them? Do you point fingers and go, oh, their daddy gave them that, or they got that because of that? I look at it and go like, man, that guy must have busted his butt. I want to know how you're successful. Like, it's just how do you look at things, right? Because a lot of people are looking like, oh, how did they get that? Or who do they know? Or I look at things like, I want to get to know that person. I want to rub elbows with that person because they must be very successful, to buy those things and appreciate those. I mean, it's just how people look at things, right? It's just, because you can be one way or you can be the other. And you don't want to be an energy vampire. I don't want to be around people, and they suck the energy out of the room. And it's just, there's it's just, so we had a lot of success there. And then after 6 years, he became the head coach at UNLV. I had an opportunity to go with him, and they asked me to take over as the head coach at Gorman. And I never wanted to become a head coach. That wasn't my goal. Just coaching and helping out. That's all I want to do. But the opportunity presented itself, and again, I looked at it as what would be harder for me to do. And I thought it would be harder for me to be a head coach because I didn't know if I could be any good at it. It was a lot more responsibility. It was scheduling. It was, I had to become a dean as well. So I thought it was a great opportunity to become a better person and just to kind of see, it was a challenge to see if I could do that. Because I knew if I went to UNLV, I would be a position coach. And again, I would have someone telling me what to do basically. And I just have my group of kids and I'd be going and it would be fun. Right. So I did that. And, we had a lot of success there, was there for 5 years. And now I'm out here in Sarasota, Florida. Kind of wanted to go branch off and kind of do my own thing and, do this Be Elite Athlete and kind of still give back to kids and the coaching and high schools. And that's kind of where we're at now.
Well, that's great. You had a great career. That was a great, awesome. I'm very proud of you and the strides that you made in your career. And I like the fact that you want to give back to the community and help those grow their career and their future. And education, we were talking about this before we went live, is key, to try and build that, and not everybody's going to be an A student, as we know. But as long as you learn something, from that. So with that being said, can you talk a little bit about Be Elite and what you have started there to kind of help those that need that resource to help them get and move forward and have that love of football?
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, touching, just piggybacking off of that, you're right. Like in football, some kids are faster. Some kids can have better eye-hand coordination. They're just a little bit more talented in those areas. And, some parents, will see better athletes or certain situations or kids will see it too and look at it as oh, I can't compete with them, or, I want to quit. I don't want to do this because it's too hard. Well, we never pull kids out of a math class when kids are smarter in math or they're doing better in math, right? You don't go, well, my kid he's not going to be in math class anymore because, Jimmy, Johnny, and, Jerry are like really smart and they're making him feel bad. Well, no. I mean, if you run with people that are fast, you'll get faster. If you work with people who are smart, you'll get smarter. Maybe not to their level, but again, you're trying to become the best version of yourself possible, not the best version of them to you. It's so I would always tell, kids or parents, hey, it's okay to struggle at things. It's actually it's a really good thing. And I'm just going to jump off the subject a little bit and then I'll get back on. But that's why I think a lot of kids don't play multiple sports anymore, which that's fine. It's their prerogative. But if a kid's really good at baseball, like really one of the best kids on baseball, and then he goes to football and he's not very good at football, right? He's kind of in the middle of the pack. That actually will help him become a better baseball player because he'll learn that now he has to compete. He's not always going to be the best at every single sport that he plays, and not just stay in what I'm just good at, right? I'm just good at this, so I'm not going to do this, or I'm just good at this, so I'm not going to do that. And I think it helps kids to just kind of humble themselves and become more of a better teammate at different sports that they play. Now I'll get back to the Be Elite Athlete. So when I was at Gorman,
that was a good point to make though, because it was a good point. So thanks for pointing that out.
Yeah,
you got a lot of parents who struggling. They're like, "Oh Lord," and a lot of kids, it's like they're stuck in between, and it's like just do it all while you can and grow, basically.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely. Struggle is good. It's healthy. And I think the more I would talk about the hard times and struggling. I mean, I would bore the kids to death about talking about those situations, about how hard things are, and how show people, even professional athletes or certain figures, that they would know they're so-called heroes, and how did they get to where they were, and who are the people that fell and how did they get back up, and it's I mean, not a lot of people are just made and it just nothing ever bad happens at all, right? So
right,
yeah. So B League. So when I was at Gorman, we started this flag football league that we would do on Saturdays, and it was kindergarten through 8th grade. It was flag football. It's 5-on-5. We split the field up, a big football field, in 4s. It was kindergarten through 8th grade. And we started the student mentorship where our high school kids, our football players, coach the kids' teams, right? So like I have a son, he played flag football, and it was the worst league ever. It was just really bad. It was, they had volunteer parents. They had beat up, like they called them jerseys, but like just T-shirts with print on them that you kind of paid for, right? And it's only, it's like $200 a kid. It's for 10 weeks. So it's not a lot of money, but to parents, I mean, I think any money that you're spending on something, that person who spends that means a lot to them. So they should get something in return for that. And I think we miss that a lot too. We go places sometimes and you're almost afraid to go like, well, excuse me, with a server, not that you're being rude, but you want things should be a certain way. I mean, I'm paying, this, and I want respect, and you should talk to me a certain way, and I should talk to you a certain way. But I earned this money, and I want my kid to have a great experience, right? But it was just a really bad league, and the parents that volunteered, and adults, adults are so much harder to get along with than kids are, right? Because they have so many issues, and they bring them out. They bring them out in sports all the time, right? I'm very convinced that parents that are the loudest and screaming and yelling and cussing and doing all these bad things at sporting events are really just taking out. They feel like that's a stage that they can take out because they don't like their life. Because there's no reason why you treat referees, or it's just a game. I mean,
it has to be a level of understanding. It's like, this is his job.
And we all know that referees are horrible anyway. So if you know that going into it, you should be okay. It should be a better. Well, I know that this movie's not going to be any good, so you can't get mad when the movie's not good. So we made our football players. We made them the coaches, and we made them the referees. Now we took daddy ball out of it. Dads don't get yell at a 16-year-old kid who's coaching their second grader. Right? Yeah. Otherwise you got major problems now. Now the high school kids they do such a great job because they actually become student mentors. The little kids look up to them. They have tons of energy. They don't care if it's cold or hot or rainy. You know what I mean? Like they're ready to go no matter what. They're not mad at their wife or their spouse, or they don't have kids. They don't have bills to pay. They don't really have any issues. So they're showing up there on a Saturday and they're ready to go, right? They got a playbook. They're energetic. They're fun. They're fired up. The kids are feeding off of that. And you look at it going like, oh, they're probably going to make mistakes because they're high school kids. But my kid's he's having a good time. He's having fun. You get, my kids, my son's flag football team was, I mean, I had to bite my tongue from saying something, being a coach, but the parents are just, when he did it first grader, and they're yelling at the kids because they're kind of playing around and not practicing the way they want them to. But with the high school kids, okay, guys, stop playing around. Like, let's do this. But adults just get so frustrated so fast. Yeah. So the student mentorship really just changed everything, and the parents started. I mean, we started off with 200 kids, and then we were at 600 kids by year 5.
Wow.
That's 600 kids in our league. And it was all based off of word of mouth. They just loved the way that the league was run. The kids would show up, they'd be fired up, and we practice for an hour, we play for an hour, they're done. There's no practice during the week. There's no nothing, right? So it was good for a parent because if you're in kindergarten, first grade, they practice from 9 to 10, play from 10 to 11. Then the second graders are practice from 10 to 11, play from 11 to 12. And it just goes from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. till the eighth graders are done. But if you got a kid, you're only there for 2 hours and you're in and you're out. So we started doing that. And once I left Vegas, I was like, well, let me branch out to other high schools and see if we can do that. So now we have 4 schools signed up. We got Sarasota High School signed up. We have Liberty in Henderson, Nevada. We have Liberty in Brentwood, California. And then Clayton Valley in California is signed up as well. So it starts in January. Yeah, so it's January to March. 10 weekends. You can either do Saturdays or Sundays. It depends on the school. And obviously the registration varies, but like at Sarasota is $185. California's a little bit more; it's $225, just because cost of living. So it does vary. But we pay the kids to coach. So if you're one of our student athlete coaches, you get paid. I think in California they're getting paid $15 an hour. I think here in Sarasota they're getting paid $10 an hour. And if they want to coach multiple teams and be out there for 4 or 5 hours, they can coach 3 or 4 games and get paid for the whole day of it. The kids who sign up, they get a custom jersey with their name on the back. They get the number, whatever number they want to pick. They get shorts. And we pay the varsity football coaches. We want them out there too to help kind of oversee their kids and make sure that it's organized. And then they get paid too. Money goes back to the school, and everyone's a winner. So it's kind of a no-brainer. Awesome. Yeah, it's good to fundraise for your program.
So good. It's set up so wonderfully.
That's awesome. I mean, it gets everyone involved and then motivated, because we all know that money motivates people. Yeah. So especially young athletes, they want to buy those sneakers.
Yeah, absolutely.
And equipment.
And why not pay them, right? I mean,
right.
And I just, full transparency, when I was doing it, we had 500 and I want to say the last from 562 kids, we pay at $250 a kid, right? You do the math. Mm-hmm. That's a lot of money, right? $160,000. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So why should we not pay the kids?
I think that was amazing. Having so many children and being a part of so many different organizations and different types of organizations, from AAU to, the school run programs to Pop Warner, you're like, where's that money going? You know what I'm saying? And when you see that the uniforms are official, you know what I'm saying? For one, you see how the program is led, what the facilities where they're practicing and playing their games. And then to know that you guys are put in, the high school students in leadership positions and leadership roles and paying them, it makes you want to put your kid in a program like that. It makes me want to ask you, how can I start this program in Jacksonville? You know what I'm saying?
Right. Yeah. And that's the goal, is to get as many schools as that we can, and I think the first year after we run this first year, and I'm kind of doing it by myself. So now, and I'm sorry, I have to learn from a managerial perspective on how to, be an accountant, how to manage these things. And, and there's things that we do have to pay for. We have a website, we got to pay for the uniforms and stuff like that. So, the way I make money is the more schools signed up, then the more money I make. If I make $2,000 at this school and I have 20 schools, then I can make some good money. But, I'm not going to get rich off of it, right? But I can still be involved in football, and I can still. It's just kind of a win-win situation. Like, it's just a win-win deal, and I think it's complete. It's good to be transparent about where that money goes, because you're right. Because all the other leagues have volunteer parents, right? So I paid $175 for my kid to play flag football, and it was all parent volunteered, which means the only person who got paid was the one guy running the entire thing. And like I said, they had janky uniforms. It was just, you could just say, like, you guys are just trying to save a penny, but there's, for what? I mean, just like anything else, you go to any business, you go to any restaurant, the good ones from the bad ones, right? And you want to go to the good ones. Why? Because they shell out the money to make it look immaculate and make it look better, right? So, and you want, and it's my name attached to it too. So that's more important to me than, making money or anything like that. It's again, I want to make a living to support my family, which I think I can do with this, but I also want to be able to do it respectfully and to do something within I know of.
Exactly.
Because you should be sorry.
No, go ahead. I was going to say quality over quantity. People always just want to just group everything, but you want to provide a quality service, because you want return, customers and people to respect you and your craft.
Absolutely.
So,
and I do the private coaching too. So I do, and I do some of that through Zoom. I still have some kids in California and Nevada that I do through Zoom. And then I do group sessions where I charge the kids $10 for the hour. So if I have 10 kids out there, that's $100 for me for an hour. But you have some of these trainers and it's like $50, $60, $70 an hour per kid. Again, I don't, you know, I mean, you're not, I mean, are you a doctor or a surgeon? I know you get $200 an hour, and you're not good at their craft, but you know, I just like being out there on the field working with kids. So, you know, I do some nutritional stuff with them. I do, you know, grade-based stuff with them, like educational stuff. But I try to do it affordable to what I mean, I don't try to, I do it affordable. I mean, if they can't afford this, then we'll do this. Okay. So what can you, it's about work. And I think if I do a good enough job, people will go like, you know, they'll want to keep coming back, and then that'll create, you know, what it needs to on its own.
Exactly.
That's right.
And then you get referred business, you know, other parents, because I know, like for Toya and I as moms, and those that watch the show as well, us moms, you know, we will refer if we feel something, a program or something that's good for our children. We'll say, listen, this is a great program. Why don't you sign up? You know, PJ, or, you know, I signed Jaden up, and, you know, it's word of mouth, like you said, where moms is trusted. We feel comfortable. So we tend to go with what we know and what someone we know in order for our children, because it's our children, right? No matter how old they are, they're still our babies. So we're still watching and making sure that what we are paying for and what we're sending our kids is quality, and we're getting what we pay for.
100%,
you know,
right?
like we all feel like paying for it is one thing, but I'm just going to kind of go right off of that. Nikwa and I, we've worked crazy jobs. We've traveled, you know, we've had to depend on each other as moms and as, you know, families and neighbors to help, you know, get our kids to and fro to sports. And our sports organizations become an extended part of our family. Right. You know what I'm saying? So it's long-term. You know, when you get with a good program, you want to stick with that program. You're like, okay, I'm gonna be here for about 4, you know, 5, 6, 7, you know, you just kind of automatically know if it's a good thing, it'll last forever. So it's just so meaningful. It means so much to families.
Yes.
So thank you.
No, I agree.
We need more of you. We need to clone you. We need more of you.
Yes. Yes.
Well, I saw private coaching as a high school coach with some of these guys come in, and they would coach some of our kids, you know, and we would go to practice, and then some of my kids would be, you know, dog tired, and you can start, you're around them all the time, and you start to see them kind of depreciate as far as their athleticism and what's going on. Because we all should know that, you know, working hard and putting the time in is very important, but taking time off is very important too. Like you have a growing body. You can't go 7 days a week, go to here, go to here, go to here. Like you have to, if your body does not rest, it does not recover. And without recovery, there is no growth. And that is the truth. So as I'm doing this, okay, what did you guys do today? Oh, we practiced today. Okay, fine. Don't come see me today. Like I'm not just taking your money and we're going to do this. I want to give me your schedule. What were your workouts that you did? And then I'm going to create something that's going to, if you're going to meet with me, we're just going to do recovery then, right? We're going to do range of motion type stuff. We're going to do foam roller. We're going to do ankle bands. We're going to do hip flex rotation. I'm not going to get you in the weight room and start pounding that body just because, well, that's what I do. Or we're going to run sprints, or we're going to do footwork drills. But you just did that 4 hours ago. Well, I'm not going to tear you up just for a paycheck, or we just won't meet. I'll tell you, you can meet with me Mondays and Thursdays because those are the days that you're off, and we can work this and this. But because someone's like, I want to work with you. I want to work with you every day. It's like, no. And I'm not working with you every day because I'm not in the business of just destroying your body.
Right. That's awesome.
Isn't it? It's awesome.
Let me dive into some of the journey that you went through, and then some of the, I guess, feedback or advice you can give to a parent or a student. A huge part of our journey has been, you know, grades. So I'm the academic person. I wasn't necessarily it's a sports inclined, I guess I should say. I was like, I did cheer, which is very athletic, but my thing was academics. And even though my kids have been very athletic and always into sports, I'm like, all right, guys, we got to keep your grades up. We got to keep, you know, GPA is very important. This will be your ticket in the future to college. Now we know what sports scholarships can do for the children. But you said you struggled a little bit with grades. Like you were like, no, I don't want to do work unless I have to do it. And then I'm going to do the bare minimum to stay in this sport. And I have, you know, one of my kids, you know, it was a struggle. It was like, okay, we need to get you to a 2.0. We need to get you to a 2.5. These are the things that you have to do. Did you do your online work? You know, I mean, it's just an everyday thing. What would be your feedback with keeping your GPA up, the best way to motivate a child to keep their GPA up. And it's just the bare minimum, good enough.
Right. Great questions. And so here's the thing, and you said it already. It's every day, right? It's an everyday occurrence with grades. Now, again, some kids are blessed, or some parents are blessed with kids that they come home and they're just like get through their schoolwork and boom, boom, boom. And then we have like my son, I can already tell all he cares about is sports, right? Surprise, surprise. And I'm so, and I'm so not anti-sport with him, but I'm so school driven with him, right? Because love my parents to death. Okay. But again, full transparency, they didn't do the greatest job of making sure that I was doing my work every single day when I should have. It was, hey, did you do your homework? Yep, I did it. I didn't do it. There was no, can I see it? Get it out, check it. Let me see, right? Do you know, okay, what is this? Do you know how to do this, right? If I needed extra help, I'm not sure that they knew. I mean, was there, instead of getting a personal coach like me to coach football, get a math tutor or get somebody else. Those are way more important than, you know, anything that you're going to do on the field. It's just the truth, especially if it's hard for them. Because again, if it's hard for them, that means that it'll pay more dividends if they attack that head on, because they're going to get through those struggles, right? So the biggest thing I believe in, and I've seen it through the kids, is consistency with doing work every single day, right? And if they don't have homework, do something school related, even if it's for 15 or 20 minutes. It's because it's just like anything else. They have to develop a discipline to just do it. Even if they don't want to do it, they have to get trained, like kind of like the military, right? Why are the SEALs the greatest? They just do it, right? When the bullets are flying, they're trained to do it a certain way. Whether they want to be there or not, I get home, I get my schoolwork out, I do my schoolwork, I check with my parents, I'm done, I can go play, right? And it's every day. Boom, 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 boom. You become disciplined so that no matter what, where they're like, okay, you know, it just becomes, because I remember having kids in school that would go out and they'd go out and have way more of a social life than I did, and they get really good grades. And, you know, I didn't. It was just because I had no discipline in my studies. I didn't have anyone to tell me, okay, this is when you need to do your work. You know, this is when I'm going to check it. You know, check in with your teachers, or, you know, I know, you know, usually a lot of places have online portals where you can go in and see, do they do that for a parent? That it's hard. That's hard to do because you're busy, you got bills, you're tired, like you worked all day too. Okay, well, too bad.
Right.
You know,
parents check it. You know, if you nail it, set an alarm in your phone.
Yeah, I mean, right. It's like, you know, if you nail it at a young age, and if you haven't, then start now, right? But if you do it and you're consistent with it, just like working out, just like with, you know, with anything else, it's consistency. You have to do it every single day until it becomes a habit. If it's not a habit yet, keep doing it. If it's not a habit yet, then keep doing it. If it's not a habit, then you keep doing it. And I mean, I can't stress that enough, that like I said, for some people, it's going to be extremely hard. But it'll be harder if you forget about it and just go like, okay, well, you know, I don't know. They don't get it. I don't get it. I'm tired. Maybe their teacher can do it for them. Teachers only going to do so much, right? And remember, they have families too, and they got other kids other than just yours. So they're going to teach them within a group setting, right? And then they're going to try to get to them as much as possible. But it's up to, I think, us parents and coaches as well need to take an active role in seeing where their kids are with their studies and being able to take things away from them as well, as whether it's playing time or, you know, anything. But there's got to be repercussions for the things, because without school, I also tell the kids, you like schoolwork? Well, I don't like schoolwork. Well, then you don't like football, or you don't like baseball. Well, no, that's not true. Yes, it is true, because if you don't have school, then you don't have this, right? You know, you like nice things, you like your new iPod or your new iWatch or whatever, right? Well, without money, you don't have this, right? So being real, I think talking to them as if they're not stupid, but as if they know what the consequences are going to be. And just like in junior college, you know, you see a lot of those reality shows that are pretty tough to watch. Those junior college ones, you know, those are pretty hard.
Really is. Yeah.
They're really hard. And I'm not saying a lot of those things are right, but some of those kids needed realness, Like, this is where you're going to be if you don't do this, because this is where you're from. So we're going to go back to the streets because you're mad at me because I'm telling you to do something. Now, not every kid that way, but when it comes to schoolwork, there's no gray area. There's no, we're not going to do this, or no, I'm not going to check, or, you know, it's like I said, some kids don't have to, that they're just going to do it on their own. They're going to become really good at it, just like sports. And the kids that aren't, going to have way more TLC put in there. And I think, like I said, consistency creates habits is key.
When you have a really good athlete, like a star athlete that's struggling, you know, with that GPA, and, you know, they're like borderline, can't be on the team, you know, this is what we need to do to get you here. Just from a coach's perspective, like, what do you feel is your responsibility, and what have you may have done in the past to help a kid get, you know, to that level? Yeah,
well, I mean, I think you have a huge responsibility, especially if you don't address it, right? If you let it go unnoticed and you don't know, and I was a dean, so every week I would get a grade check, and if you were failing a class, you had 1 week. Now that's just like you can have an F in a class and still get a C or B, but if you had an F in a class, you had 1 week to make that up, otherwise you were ineligible for that game. That was our rule. Right. So you literally had 1 week to make you know, again, you can't go 3, 4, 5 weeks. You have an F for 5 weeks. I mean, you can't make that up. So you got to catch it right away. Right? Okay. Grade check them out Monday. You have an F. Okay. Why do you have an F? What's going on? Right. By Friday, you got to bring it up to a D at least. And then I want to see that grow from there. Right. So it's catching things right away. And then again, you can only do so much as a coach because you have 70 kids on the varsity team, 60 on the JV, 70 on the freshmen. So there's a lot of kids within your program, right? Okay. Boo-hoo. Don't be a coach then, right? Okay. If you want to have all the kids and okay, I don't try to discipline kids. They're always, you got to tell them what to do. Well, I mean, welcome to adolescence. I mean, if you didn't think you were going to, that's the most important role as a high school teacher or coach is discipline. The number one thing you have to do, because without discipline, everything falls apart. With discipline, everything is easy, right? They shouldn't fear you, but they should respect you enough to get their stuff done. And the parents have to have an active role too. So as a coach, hey, just want to give you a call. He's failing this class, or he's got a C or a D. He's struggling. We need to, we need to do whatever we can. And parents can't take that as, oh, not my kid, or there's a problem, or there's something wrong with their kid. There's nothing wrong. We're just trying to fix the situation, right? So both people have to be active. Don't be shy. I'm not shy at all. So I'll tell you, your kid needs to do this, and needs to do this, this, and this, right? I'm not parents tell me, well, I mean, I ain't worried about that. We're worried about football. It's like, well, there is no football because he has no grades, right? So, and I mean, so yeah, I think the coaches have a very important role, but I think it's very easy if you address it. So when they walk through your door as a freshman, you address it immediately, and then the consequences start immediately. And then they'll either not participate because your rules are too stringent and too hard, and the parents don't agree with it, which really are just trying to make them better. Okay. Or they'll fall in line. And they'll get better. There's there's only one way about it, So I would be as pesky as I could. I mean, if you're on my list of kids not getting good grades, then you're seeing me on a regular basis, or I was seeing you on a regular basis. So being on campus really helps. Coaches that aren't on campus have a really, really tough job, and schools that don't hire coaches or try to get their coaches PE jobs, or PE teachers that don't coach are wasting everyone's time, because they could have those jobs for coaches. Because I think if you're a PE teacher, you should coach something, because now you're getting a salary to also coach. Coming from another job, it's really hard to do that. So if you're on campus, you can catch things before they happen. And again, it's just being active and creating habits within yourself too. Again, once you do it, it becomes very easy, because that becomes the norm. It just runs itself at that point, right? Because kids have word of mouth too, right? Just like anyone else. Like hey, coach doesn't mess around. Like, you better make sure you get on this or get on that. Like, because kids are they're smart and they're tricksters, and you know they can figure out real quick. If they think you're weak, they'll walk all over you, right?
Yes.
But they'll respect the heck out of you if you lead them in the right direction, because what they will see is they'll see progress, they'll see high energy within themselves, and they'll see a better version of themselves that they thought maybe didn't exist. And I'm not talking about really good players. I'm talking about maybe kids that were just wanted to play because they liked football. Then all of a sudden they're like, well, I don't need to actually play in a game to have fulfillment. You know, I would tell parents all the time in my parent meeting, I said, we have 365 days out of the year. We have 10 games, 290 practices. You tell me what's more important. So you're going to complain about your kids not playing a game. I got 290 other days where they're practicing. That's the most important. That's where I'm building your men. That's what I'm building. The games are for you. If you're mad because your kid's not playing in a game, that's on you. Because most of the time, if you would just talk to your kid, hey, are you enjoying it? Yeah, I wish I was playing, but yeah, you know, I mean, they know, you know, why usually they're not the starter or whatever. And like I said, that's not, for me, practice was always the funnest part, because the games were just, I mean, that's 2 hours and done, but practice is every single day, you know, and it's grades, it's, you know, it's discipline, and it's, you know, that's when you see kids build into something that maybe they thought they couldn't be. And that's the fulfillment of coaching. I thought, I know I got out of the most. And like I said, I think it's very important for coaches to be actively involved in that. But that's they have to learn how to do that too, right? It's the same thing. It's tiring, it's exhausting, it's hard, but that's your job, you know?
Exactly. Yeah, you're right. And parents need to be supportive. I think sometimes parents can be a little daunting and try to, you know, well, no, that's not my kid. And sometimes you don't understand, you know, your kid is a different kid at school. Like they're not, you know, you're not with them all the time. So understand the coach is spending a lot of time with your child and helping build them as a human being or an athlete. So they know, they see it. So, you know, take heed to it. Don't just be ready to, you know, attack. You know, I just feel like, and I, like you said earlier, you know, when my son Jaden was playing in high school football, and a lot of times it would just be me, and those parents would be so, like, to the point where I'm like, you know, they would talk really bad. Like, for example, they would go, you know, hit him at the knees. Now, first of all, we're not doing that. You know, but that's how they would talk. Or they act like this is an NFL game. Are they getting a check? I'm like, calm down. You know, and then I do get involved mostly because I'm reading lips, and people are like, you know what? Let them play. Don't read the lips. Of course, they're going to talk smack on the field. So, you know, it's just, you get involved. And sometimes I think parents are just a little over the top, like calm down and allow them to be who they are. Because a lot of times if you talk to the athletes, like you said, they don't like their parents screaming. They wish they would sit down and enjoy it like everyone else, because they don't want to hear that one parent yelling in the background, you know? So, so I think that's important too, that the parents support the coaches as well, so that the kids can see that.
And you're right. And you know, parents, I think, I wish they, you know, and listen, I think like 85% of them are great. And then the worst ones are always the loudest, right? The worst ones are everywhere you go. The worst ones are always loud. But they need to understand too, we're all a product of our environment. So the kids will start to act like their parents as well. So if you're going to act the fool, your kid's going to act the fool as well. And, you know, same thing with coaches too. You know, don't allow your kids to trash talk at practice. Don't allow them to, you know, now there's some.
I mean, it comes. I was told it comes with the territory in some place.
Yeah, well, some people believe that, but I mean, you know, look at, you know, I mean, we won 172 games and lost 7 in 10 years, and we played some of the toughest teams in the nation. And some of the you know, some of those games we had better football players. Some of those games we didn't. But we averaged over 3.4 GPA. We had, you know, kids graduating, and the only reason why I bring that up is because we didn't allow those things to take place or happen at all. You know, there are many times where I would pull a kid that was really good if he wasn't acting the way that he needed to be. You know, we didn't spike the ball. We didn't, you know. Now, is a cuss word going to come out? Yeah, I mean, it's full contact. So every once in a while, someone's going to get a temper. If you're going to think they're going to be an angel and like no one's going to get mad, that's not what I'm talking about. But I'm at practice in an environment that I can control. If it looks like a jungle or a zoo or something that's out of control, That's what I'm creating. So then when I see that on the field, I shouldn't be surprised and get in the kid's grill when he's acting crazy when I never stopped it at practice. Right.
Right.
So like I said, I mean, it was hard. I mean, you know, we had a lot of success, but it was tiring and it was tough. But I literally every day, you know, we towed the line every day. I mean, if your toe was beyond that point of that line, we'd start over. Or it was, I mean, it was the little things every single day. It wasn't you put the rules on the wall, you talked about them, and then the season started and you forgot about all those rules. Well, we talked about them on the first day. No, it was first day, second day, third day, fourth day, fifth, sixth, seventh. It was every single day until it became a machine and it just ran itself. And every once in a while you had to fill up some air in the tire a little bit, but the structure of that car was strong and it was sturdy and it knew exactly which way it wanted to go. And it was whether, you know, we played teams that we beat because they were too busy talking crap or doing the wrong things. Where you go like, man, if they would just shut up, they'd be a pretty good football team. But we're not going to worry about that. You know? I mean, and that's just the truth. It's just, I mean, because there's so many things in all sports that you need to do other than talk mess, right? I mean, you got to learn to play. You got to, you know, you got to go against somebody who's good. You got to be physically dominant over somebody. There's corrections in your body that you got to make. So, you know, wasted energy is not good for anybody.
Right. I agree with that 100%. Yeah.
Yes.
I'm glad you pointed out the controlled practices, because a lot of things can get out of control during practice time. It's you know, it's like, is it social hour, or, you know, is it just my turn when it's my turn? No, we have like you said, it's a machine. We're running, we're organized. It's organized sport here. So that's great to know. You know,
absolutely.
Coaches pay attention to that.
Most
gotta be
definitely.
organized. Organization is key, right? I mean, that's our practices. We're timed. We have 10 minutes here, 5 minutes here, 10, 15, 20. We're moving around. We're constantly somebody's got to be doing something. And very rarely were we ever out there for 2 hours. I mean, hour and a half, usually tops. We're in and we're out. We never conditioned our kids. We conditioned the way we moved through practice. You know, we jogged to the drill. We did this, we did that. We didn't hang out. You know, we went there to work and we talked about the things we needed to do to get better as a group. And then we got out of there, you know?
Yeah. Well, that's good. But you're still bonding and building a team, you know, and because you got to trust each other, because football is a very physical sport and you can definitely get hurt if you're not, you know, responsible or, you know, pay attention or really in sync with your team and things of that nature. You could really get physically hurt. I think that's in all sports too.
Yeah. And then again, it's a sport where you have to constantly be coaching, right?
Yeah.
You should be coaching on every single play, every kid. I mean, one thing, I mean, I don't know if I was worth a darn as a coach, but I know one thing is that I treated every kid the same, whether they were a backup player or a starter. If they did the wrong thing, if they messed up or weren't doing it right, they were corrected. Didn't matter. Every kid was coached. Every kid was yelled at. So every kid, I know for a fact, felt a part of the team, because if they were in there, if they did a drill, it was going to get corrected if it was done wrong. So wrong, right, or indifferent. And I would always tell the kids, you know, because it's, you know, that's another tough thing is, you know, getting yelled at, or, you know, as long as you're yelling at them about a drill, or you're not name calling, you're not belittling somebody, that's different. I think looking to go like, oh, you're always yelling at my kid. Well, I mean, is it sports related, or is it football? I mean, because this is a fast game. We're moving. I don't have time to sit here for 30 minutes. And again, he needs to learn how to take some kind of criticism and hear that and be okay with it. Have some thick skin. It's okay.
Yeah. Right.
Again,
exactly.
You're belittling a kid, then that's completely different. But you know, have a short memory, whether it's good or bad. If you do a good thing, have a short memory, do another good thing. If you do a bad thing, have a short memory, forget about it, move on to the next thing. And then, you know, you just got to realize that it's not as tough as it really seems, right? It's easier. It gets easier the more inviting that you are with it, right? It just becomes, I think after a while, I was just one ear out the other. Sometimes I was just going to see how you're going to react to a certain situation. Like, well, I thought I did it, you know, because you can't go into the hall. You can't, you know, the easiest thing to do is look at the other side of you, right? The hardest person is the man in the mirror. And that person's just going to constantly tell you to do the easy thing, which is quit or go do that, or go hang out with your friends, or not do what's hard. Like it's hot out there, and people are hitting out there, or that's a struggle over there. We can go hang out over here at the 7-Eleven like this. We can chill.
Right.
We can go talk to this girl. Let's go talk to this dude. Whatever. You cheerleaders too. It doesn't matter. Like, I don't need to go to practice. I can go hang out with my boy. That's the easy part, right? It's fighting that person. It's learning how to control that one. And we're going to do that till I'm still doing it at 41. It's trying to control ourselves, right? To make sure, okay, this seems a little easier today than that, but it's like, okay, it's going to be a constant struggle, but it gets easier with learning the process.
Right.
That's an awesome point. I think that I am inspired most by my 3 boys' dedication and willingness to put themselves through the hard stuff. Right. Last summer, my middle son invited me out to actually join training with them. I was like, I'm all in. I'm going. I was ready. When I tell y'all, I almost died. Like, almost
that's
died
tough.
in the sand pit. Like, calling my husband, like, oh, you gotta come get me. Like, I can't breathe. Like, we're in Florida, so it's hot.
Yeah.
It's muggy. Y'all got all that weight on, all that. I'm inspired, Right now I got a little workout I'm doing, and I'm like, if they can get up every day, so can I, even if it's for 30 minutes. So, you guys helping our kids help us. And it's just a forever giving circle, and it's just amazing in itself, the way that it works. Yeah. When you when you put your children in team sports, what would you recommend would be the best age to kind of put your child into team sports?
I mean, I think the earlier the better, right? I mean, it doesn't matter what sport, right? I mean, I think the first sport, I think Kason, my son, was soccer, right? I think the more they can be around other kids and be in a team atmosphere and have fun, and then also learn some discipline through it, right? How to coordinate their bodies, and see other kids out there that are good and kids that are bad, and see kids that are different, Black kids, white kids, brown kids, be inclusive as much as possible, right? I mean, I think one thing I'm not struggling with now, but I want to and need to, because when your kids a certain age, they see somebody who looks different. And it's usually somebody who's disabled, right? And it's like, it's daddy, like, look, and they say, shout it out or something, or they say something. Yeah. And it's hard because, so I got to do some like volunteer where, he sees that becomes, natural and more normal to where it's okay, right? To teach those things, to see those. But I think team activities can start as early as they're allowed to start. And I don't think it matters which sport, you know what I mean? I think the more the better. And or even groups too, right? A chess group or those are great too. It doesn't have to be, necessarily some kind of athletic sport, but the more they're around other kids who come from different backgrounds and they have to do the same thing, but then just kind of try to work together. I don't think there's anything wrong with that ever, right?
Most definitely. Most definitely. I have a good question. I know me and Toya went through this with because Jaden, he's in his second year of college, of course, due to COVID. A lot of things they didn't play because he's at a Division III school, so they don't. It wasn't like most Division I's. They all played throughout COVID and things of that nature. So for those student athletes who, due to maybe moving, because we were in Florida and then we moved out of Florida, which Florida's like, when you said, Florida's like the best, it kind of like crushed me. I'm like, I made a mistake. But what can you say for students who, are in a position like that? You go to an area that's not football oriented, and you're trying to find your way, and you're put in a situation where you want to move up, but, something like this happens. How can you kind of get out there and network yourself as a student? Because sometimes, I will say this too, sometimes college coaches or coaches in general, they get jealous. They don't want, if your son or your student period, son or daughter is a good athlete, they don't want to share you with another coach a lot of times. So they kind of shunned you away from that sport. And so it's like, you're kind of stuck. You don't really want to reach out to that coach because that coach is going to want to be like, well, why? Why do you want to know? Or why do you want to do that? So, as a parent, we kind of struggle because, like, for me, I I learned the game through my son. I wasn't like, I watched it, but I didn't know, a lot of the plays or different things like that until he played in the game. And so I was like, I wanted to know his position, what he played, so I could support him and be involved. And so it was hard for me to try to figure out and navigate, work with coaches to kind of figure out the best path for him, because, he kind of skipped a year within that 4 years of playing because we moved. So, what can, parents like myself and others, with their students to kind of help them? I mean, what would they, I know, would the social media help out with networking with coaches? Like, how do you get in that network to kind of go? Because there's so many opportunities out there that a lot of students didn't know about, community colleges or junior colleges that you can go to and then go here. Like, I feel like the resources are not really given out the way it should to help everyone. It's only to help the elite.
Yeah, on the different levels. Because like we mentioned, it's different levels. Everybody has a different path. So I think Twitter during COVID was a huge one for us. I was like, oh, really? Twitter? The kids were like, yes, Twitter is where I need to be. But what would your feedback be is how do you network and with a coach? How do you get into that?
Yeah. And are we talking from high school to college?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Yes. Okay. So yeah, great questions. And I think, there's so many different avenues that you could kind of go through that people don't really know what to do. Right. It's like Twitter, Instagram. Do I contact the coach directly? Do I talk to the high school coach? Do I go to this camp? Do I go to that camp? Do I go to what school do I go to? Right. And you're right. There's so many other places and avenues for kids to play beyond just Division I football. So Division I football is real simple, right? I mean, there's 131, 132, I think, Division I football schools, and those are like your big time schools, right? Your Pac-12, your all your big SEC conferences, right? Those are the ones that everybody knows. That's where everybody wants to go play, right? Ohio State, LSU, Alabama, right? And that's every kid's dream, regardless of their size, weight, whatever, it doesn't matter. Those schools will find the best players for them, no matter what schools that they're at, right? The cream always rises. So it's not as hard to get a Division I scholarship. You just have to be a really good player. I mean, that's just the truth. You have to be, less than 3% of high school football players get a Division I scholarship. So you're talking about 2.8, I think it's 2.7, 2.8% of kids that play 11-man football, which is a little over 18,000 high schools, times, I don't know, say 50 average per kid. Only 2.87% of those will get a full scholarship. In Division I football, they don't split scholarships. So it's either full ride or nothing. You don't, one AA, Division II, III, they can split those up so that they have a full scholarship. They can give that to like 4 different kids, right? You get 5, you get 2,000, you get 4, you get 5, right?
Yeah.
So I think to get to Division I, first and foremost, you got to be one of the best players in the country. And that's just the truth, right? So marketing yourself for that is not as hard as trying to market yourself if you're a less, I don't want to say lesser player, but if you're maybe not to that caliber. Does that make sense? And then kids have to understand that, do you really love football? Do you really want to play it beyond high school? Because if you do, then there are Division IIs, Division IIIs. There's NAIA, like I played, which is like a Division II school. They're not NCAA, but they're like in the same Division II bracket, just NAIA. There's junior college. There's prep schools now. There's a lot of them that they're jumping up right now. Which is, you can go to a prep school right after high school, and it's actually kind of like a limbo year. And it doesn't count towards your college eligibility. So you can go there for a year and get bigger, stronger, faster, get your grades up, whatever. And then you can get a scholarship after that. So, and then you're 19 and a half years old. So, especially for males, more testosterone, you're getting stronger, you're getting faster, you're more mature mentally, because we know that, boys are less mature than girls are at a very young age, right? It takes us to about 37 and then we're good to go. So there is that buffer year of schools that they have. They cost quite a bit of money, usually because it's going to like an academy, so anywhere from $10,000 to $20,000 for that year. But it's an option. And then trying to navigate there's so many schools that I think the best thing to do from a parent's perspective is to map out with their kids. Okay, where would you want to go to school? Like, what in the region of the United States would you want to go to school? And then once they can pinpoint maybe a couple regions, is and depends kind of how active the high school coach is. Again, that's hard because they're super busy. So but they can always make phone calls. They should always, if you say, hey, can you call? But I think it's the parent's job to kind of map out, because there are so many schools, what kind of regions, where would you, I mean, do you want to live in the cold? Do you not want to live in the cold? Do you want to live in warm weather? Do you not want to live in warm weather? Do you want to be far from mom? Do you want to be close to mom and dad? So just kind of make a list, map those things out. And then there's, you still find hundreds of schools within those regions, and then start to look at those schools. And a lot of kids aren't going to know what they want to study, right? I mean, some will, some won't. So that could help determine some things. And then have the high school coach, hey, these are the kind of the 10 to 20 schools that we're looking at. Maybe narrow it down to a certain amount, have him contact the coach, or you can contact the coach. You can start to send him film, because a lot of those schools, well, the majority of those schools are kind of to especially the Division II to Division III to NAI, are kind of Midwest towards the East Coast. The West Coast is going to have a lot of junior colleges. Like California has more junior colleges than the rest of the United States of America, just in California. They're on a whole different JUCO bracket, right? They have the NJCAA, which is basically everyone besides California. And then you have the KJ, California Junior College Athletic Association, which has like 90 to 100 junior colleges just within California. And then there's only like 70 in the rest of the United States. So they're on a whole different type of planet, right? And then you have there's smaller schools like the NAIAs, Division IIs. There's some within the West Coast, but most of those are all Midwest to the East Coast. So mapping those out, kind of figuring, but those programs and those coaches don't have the resources like Division I schools to do recruiting outside of the region, really, right? So if you see a school and you're like, oh, I like this school out in Florida, but you live in California and it's like a Division II school or whatever, they're not going to come out to California because they don't have the budget to do that. But now, that's where Twitter comes in, Facebook, sending film to them because they want that. They look at that. They just might not know who your kid is because they're so far away, or they're not in the region that they can recruit because they don't have the money to do that, right? So being active and just trying to figure out exactly, it's a process, right? But I think it's just eliminating where they don't want to go to school and kind of creating places where they do want to school, and then just attacking those schools head on, right? I mean, this is a time where being loud is okay, right? So being a pest is a good thing, right? A kid, and I would always tell the kid, here, come to my office. I'm going to call the coach. Here you go. What am I going to say? Time to grow up. Talk to him. Hey,
we went with that. We went through that. We went through the you got to learn how to speak moment. You got to speak up, speak for yourself. All this competitive behavior, fighting amongst your siblings and your friends. Now it's time to put it to work. So I'm glad you pointed that out. That is a big moment, for a high school athlete, is to find the words and learn how to stand up for themselves and speak professionally to coaches on the college level.
They get nervous. They're nervous to talk to another male who's an adult. I would always tell our parents, I said, listen, I don't mind talking to you as a parent about, any issues or whatever's going on, but I really I urge you, and I'm going to tell your kid that I want mom or dad to call me again. I want them to come talk to me. I want them to say, hey, I'm not going to be here because if I get a call from your mom, I would tell the kids, if I get a call from your mom and dad and says, you have a dentist appointment, okay, you're suspended. Okay. They're busy. They have a job. Time for you to grow up. You can come tell me to my face what's going on. We can have a conversation about stuff. You have to learn how to get out of your comfort zone now. Do it now. Right? And then I would tell the parents, and I know you love your kids, so you can come back and say, hey, did he come talk to you? Like, are we good? Yeah. I just want him to not think that he's got to lean on you to, say, hey, he's got a toothache, or, he can't make practice, or he's sick, because he's probably not sick. He just doesn't want to work hard that day. So if he has to come tell me, he's probably going to come to practice.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
You got it.
Yeah.
Right. So it's like, don't let him be your scapegoat, because, like I said, it's still come back and talk to me. But what I'm trying to do, and most parents were good with it, but some were like, well, I don't understand. Like, I'm trying to help your kid grow up. That's all. Because I know you don't want to believe it, but he's going to be gone at some point. And if I could teach him at 15 to come talk to me, an adult, and tell me what his problems or concerns are, even playing time, I would tell the kids, you want to come talk to me about playing time or why you're not playing? My door is always open. I'm not going to talk to your parents about playing time. I owe you an explanation of why this person is playing in front of you. You may not like that explanation, But guess what? You're going to get a job one day. You might want a promotion, and your boss might tell you, this is why you didn't get a promotion. Well, you can't sit there and go, F you, I quit. You're going to have to say, okay, well, maybe some things I need to work on, right? You're going to have to take some negative with the good as well, but let's learn how to do that now before it's, I don't know. I mean, you can't just text people the rest of your life.
Right.
Exactly.
We had a question for you. I think you've answered it over and over again, but it was, what are the most important skills that should be built on and off the field? And that was a question I had, because it's so many different skills that they learn in team sports from, my sons have developed the best friendships, playing with the guys that they've played, or my girls, cheering and gymnastics, that their fellow students. So other than, I guess, being able to take criticism, what are some other skills? Give me like 3 or 4 main skills that you focus on and off the court with student athletes.
Yeah. So, I mean, on obviously is going to be, that's pretty simple. I mean, and this one is, I think the most important is showing up on time, right? Because that just teaches you to be respectful of other people's time and respectful of your own. I think the most important time is your own time. So it's like, why would you want to waste your own time? I would tell kids all the time, why do you want to waste your own time? If you don't want to be here, you don't have to be here. There's exits all around the stadium. You can leave whenever you want, right? No one's forcing you to be here. But if you're going to be here, then be present, right? I mean, be involved. If this isn't where you want to be, then that's cool. I mean, I got no hard feelings. I'll still say hi to you on campus. I mean, if you want to do something else, that's fine. Like I support whatever endeavors you want to do. But if you're going to be here, then, be here, right? Be here on time. Be ready to work. Fight those days that are bad. Because I have days where I wake up and go, I really don't want to go today. I don't want to talk to you kids either. But you know what? I get up and I go and I try as hard as I can. You just have to have more good ones than bad ones, right? Yeah. And just understand, but you are going to have bad ones. It's okay. Like, we're only human. You can wake up and be in a bad mood. That's cool. It's just, you just have to have more good ones than bad ones, right? And then, what are you doing within the process, I think, is number 2. So first, show up on time. Second one, what are you doing within the process to make yourself better? Not what the other person's doing, but what are you doing, right? Because it's easy to look at other people and start in your mind to pick favoritisms, or why coaches you feel you're not playing or you're not getting a certain treatment or whatever. And then always remember, if someone's correcting you or disciplining you, that means they love you. Because no one wastes time. I would tell kids all the time, the day, if I get a kid looking like, oh, you're always getting on me. It's like, well, obviously that means I care about you. I said, because the day someone stops correcting you, how would practice would be if I never talked to you ever, not one time. That would be a pretty darn lonely day, right? In fact, when you drill, you should go like, wow, this guy cares enough to where he wants to yell at me to do the right thing. I said, you should feel good about that. I mean, that's a good thing, because there's going to be a day where no one's going to tell you what to do anymore. And sometimes it gets a little sad, because everyone needs a little good kick in the butt sometimes. And you're going to have to teach yourself to do it. I mean, how as an adult, how much better would my day be if someone came with a whistle, told me to wake up. Okay, we're going to have a great day. We're going to go. You know what I mean? You got to show up. Okay, some days I'll probably be mad at that person, but I'd be like, okay, here we go. Yeah, high five.
Make that coffee. I'm about to get that coffee.
If we had a personal coach that had our stuff ready to go, I had it all organized and set up. We just had to get in there and just and get it done. That would be pretty. And you have somebody else with all this energy next to you all the time. It would force you to rise to the occasion, right? So I would always say it's a good thing when someone's disciplining you. Discipline is love. It's in the Bible. It's in everything that we have. Discipline is the most loving thing that we can ever give anybody. It's what we do with our kids only because we want what's best for them. So we see them on this wrong path or something else. And I think so understanding is super important when you're there, right? It's not just the playing part, it's just understanding. And then off the field, I think the most important thing is go do something different. Have fun, go be a kid, go do something. Parents just say, what can we do? What can I do to get my kid better? Give him some ice cream and don't talk to him about football. Don't coach him up. Ask him about his day, or, try to read him a little bit. And if you don't want to talk about football all the time, that's fine. Because I enjoy my time off too. I mean, my brother's a little different. He's like, go, go, go all the time. And some people are like, football, football, football. I'm like, I go hard. And then when I get out, I like my vacation. I go to the beach. I don't want to talk about football. Like, I like to get away and do other things too.
Right.
And, because now I come back, I feel more refreshed. So I think what's really important was when you're away from it to be away from it. Don't worry about the recruiting or this or that, or, and then, just, have love for what you do. And in order to do that, sometimes you got to step away from it. Right. So, I don't know. I think
everybody needs a reset. Everybody needs a reset. Everybody needs a reset.
I don't think kids know how to do that. I don't think they do. I think they feel sometimes they get pressured. I think maybe if you're not doing anything towards that sport or that athletic prowess or goal, then you're being lazy, or you're not doing what you're supposed to, or someone else is going to pass you up. And listen, and we should all know after COVID, our mental well-being is so important, and even for kids, and kids have to, and I don't know, it's they have to feel loved. Some kids are tougher than other kids, but not really. They may just think that. So it's like, how just try to, I don't know. It's tough. It's a tough day and age, but try to get away from things and just be happy, right? Just go do something fun that you want to do. You're not missing out. You'll be okay, right? You got practice on Monday.
Right. I can see where a child could feel overwhelmed, especially for us, because we ran everything. We had so many kids. We raised 5, so we were just like, okay, this is what we do on Monday. This is what we do on Tuesday. We ask about school. We ask how was football. But it took a point in time when they became young adults and teenagers where it was like, okay, I need to switch up, my conversation, and I need to switch up how we spend time. We've always, even with Nico, we've always incorporated, fun and travel and field tripping in the lifestyle. But it's even more important. It's very important for young kids, but it's even more important for the teenagers, because you tend to have those shorter conversations. You just are asking about school, sport, and then it's like, they don't really have much to say. You don't really have much to say. So just kind of work on that. I like how you said, kind of feel them out and see how they're feeling that day. Maybe that, that day is different and tomorrow will be a different day. But I appreciate you pointing that out. And I also appreciate you bringing up mental wellness, because that's super important for everybody.
And I think to be vulnerable as an adult, I think if your kids can see that, or even my football players, I wear my emotions on my sleeve. So if I'm mad, or if you're going to know it, right? I'll cry when I want to cry. I'll be me. I would cry in front of my kids. If I get emotional, I get emotional. If I get mad, what I'll never be is somebody you don't know. I don't like people I don't know who they are. Like, I don't know if they're a backstabber or whatever. Like, I'd rather just, who are you, right? But then that's the part about, knowing who you are too, is I think being vulnerable, your kids see that and they want to open up more. I don't just need to hear about them. I'll tell them about what happened to me or my day, or if our coaches are going through a struggle, I would encourage our coaches to talk about, what's going on in their life too, what kind of struggles they have, or if a kid, and we always forget, but I learned this actually when I was at Bethany. Every day we would ask, our coaches ask, do you guys want us to pray for anybody, or is there anybody going through a struggle that we need to talk about? And most kids would kind of look around and be silent. But if a coach says something, and then once a kid says something, because we don't know what's going on. There's got 70 kids out there. Like, somebody lost a grandparent, or somebody's parent is, in hospice, or there's stuff going on that as a team, if you can lean on us, if we can talk about it, and let's stand up and be like, this is what's going on, and this is how I feel. And I'm gonna be honest, I get real struggle, and I'm trying to just, do good by my family. And, it's hard sometimes, but I appreciate you guys listening. I just wanted to share that with you. And if adults do that and kids see that, they go like, okay, well, maybe I can talk too, So it's not about football and hey, let's go win football games. It's like, how do we win forever in life?
Yes.
Right. Exactly. Yes. Win forever in life. I like that. That's, because that's important, because like you said, not everyone's going to make it playing football for the rest of their life. So they have to learn life outside of football. And I think that's something that I've seen a lot of people struggle with, especially when they get hurt and they can't play anymore. It's a struggle to find their way, because it's been every day football in hand. And so it's like, I feel as a parent, try to find that balance for your child to say, okay, you know, football's great, but what else are you going to do? What's plan B, you know? And even though it really shouldn't be plan B, it should be plan A, because football is not everything, but you want to kind of put that to the child, because that's their plan A, you know, that's their number one, that's their love. And so you want to, you know, what are other things? And like, I know my son, he wants to stay in sports, so he went into sports management, you know, and his GPA is great, you know, and he can take that and move forward with that and still be in the field, you know, and still do what you love. And so, you know, just finding that gift for your child and hone in on that and help them with that. Of course, if you want to be a lawyer, your kid may not want to be a lawyer. That's what you want to do. And a lot of times I've seen parents force their beliefs on a child as far as, well, you're going to run track, or you're going to play soccer, or you're going to, and they're like, I don't want to do that. I want to play the violin, or I want to play the piano, or, you know, or things of that nature. I want to, you know, take ballet lessons, or, you know, I don't really want to do that. I'm not athletic. I'm not like you, you know, and things of that nature. So I think it's important that you do have that relationship, not even relationship, but that communication with your kid, and know the other options outside of sports, because there are other options. And for me, I feel like, you know, schools need to get better at, if the athlete gets hurt, that they still find a way for that child to get their education. I think that is so important. And I just find it's just so disheartening, you know, you can't play anymore, you don't get an education. It's got to be something, you know, something where you can help, you know, whether it's a partial, I don't know, something, you know, instead of just, you know, figure it out, you know. So we got to prepare our kids better, you know, and I appreciate, you know, where you're coming from as a coach, because a lot of times coaches just want to win, like you said, and they're not really looking out for the kids. Kids are playing hurt, shouldn't be playing. I mean, I think that's one of the questions you're going to ask, you know, coaches, you know, there's a lot of coaches out there who are having athletes play and they're hurt. They shouldn't be playing, you know, and you can ruin a kid's whole career. I mean, for life, not even playing a sport, you know, on an injury.
Yeah. And who wants, you know, who wants to win that way? You know what I mean? It's like there's you know, look, I'm as big as competitors there is. I mean, you know, we're gonna drink a cup of coffee. I'm gonna try to beat you to choose faster. You know what I mean? But I want to do it the right way. You know what I mean? I want to do it the right way. You know, I mean, there's a wrong way to do it, and there's a right way to do it. And you know, I've lost games that I felt, I mean, great about the way our kids played, just because I knew they gave it all they had, and it was fulfillment, right? So yeah, you have to be, I don't know. That's different. Yeah, you just have to, you got to want more for that individual, right? And then you got to, you know, if you have kids, like how would you want your kid? You know, I mean, shoot. I mean, if I'm taking care of your kid or someone else's kid, I'm going to be almost even more extra careful with them. Yeah. You know what I mean? Because I know how precious my kid, like when I mean, even now I'm such a baby. I mean, I you know, because Kay's going to be in kindergarten, right? He's in pre-K. So he started camp. So I dropped him off at camp and I'm like, leaving. I'm like, you're trusting, you know, somebody else with your kid. It doesn't matter if you're in high school or college. That's still your baby, right? So it's like, well, you know, and then they start spending they spend more time with them than you do sometimes. So, and hopefully us as coaches are understanding that and going, okay, what's the best, you know, what's best for them? You know what I mean? Not what's best for me, you know? So, and a lot of pressure gets put on coaches too. I think unwanted pressure for certain things to winning and stuff like that. And, you know, but those winning to me was always easy. It was like, it was a byproduct of doing all the little things right, which in turn was making the kid better. So if you took all those little things at the beginning, like the schoolwork, showing up on time, hard work, making your shoes are tied, you wore the right color t-shirt on Monday, the right color t-shirt on Tuesday, like all these tiny little things that people don't want to do. They don't. Most coaches don't want to do those things. They say that they do, and they talk about them. They put them on a list. They don't actually do them, right? So when you actually do those things, you will win because you just created the recipe to do it.
Yep. That's awesome. I like that. I like that.
We've touched on so much. It's been, you know, such a good conversation. It's been so many different ways to kind of absorb the conversation as a coach, as a parent, you know, as a student. So many great tips. I just want to make mention of our journey with Plan B. We always encourage our children to not necessarily tell us what else do you want to be, but what else do you like, you know? And my youngest was like dirt bikes. And I was just like, I don't think so. But we even got to the point where we went out, you know, to the west side of Florida over in Tampa. And we rode dirt bikes together as a family. And then we went to a mud bogging dirt biking. Know what else they're interested in, and to be able to maybe line up, you know, other opportunities. Very, very important, extremely important. Yeah, another one of my sons, the oldest, he's into health science and nursing and in the medical field. So when he leaves for college in the next month or so, when he goes to school, you know, at the university, it's going to be all about health sciences, but he's playing football too. So that's what he wants to do in the long run. So parents, it's very, very important to explore all the things that your child likes to do. And if it's football and playing the game, you know, playing PlayStation or Xbox, maybe there are things with gaming, you know, that they would be interested in. So just, you know, being creative at, you know, what a plan B could look like for your child in the future is important.
Yeah, no, absolutely. You're 100% right.
Yeah, I love what you do. I love your program. You know, I think I always talk to my kids about coaching. Even now, you know, they're just out of high school and I have one senior and I'm like, you guys are, you know, this game, you know, you've been playing this game since you were 5 years old. I would consider them as experts. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, you guys can host a camp now, make some money, but also give back to the community at the level that they're at, you know? So I just think coaching is very rewarding. I've been in skincare for 20 years and it's only so much you can do in skincare and then you become an educator, you know what I'm saying? So it's just so rewarding, and passing that gift along is so important. I appreciate you for coming on and sharing, you know, what you have going on now, and knowing that you have an opportunity to branch out and other people can take part in your program as well is just like amazing.
Amazing.
And you can stand as a role model, you know, to other programs that could use a little sprucing up that ain't quite running well.
To help.
Right. Well, we all need help, you know, regardless. I mean, even like I said, I'm always out there. You know, I still talk to college coaches that I know, and you know, I got a brother-in-law who's a college football coach in Duquette in Pittsburgh, and then my brother Tony, who's at TCU, coaching, and then all the relationships I built. But you know, so it's an ever-growing thing. It's to become a better person or a better version of yourself. So, and I think over the last year, it hasn't been ever more important than now, and you know, so if we can help, I think, like I said, the most important thing is for our young, because I want what's best for my child. So, you know, so I want what's best for other people's kids too. You know, it's only natural, but, you know, just for them to understand that it's a process. It's not going to happen right away.
Right.
And, you know, I would always use, you know, and Antonio Brown was a great athlete, right? Played for the Steelers, went through some issues and stuff like that.
Yeah.
That guy came out of the womb running a 4.1. Like, he gets in trouble and he still gets chances and he still makes millions of dollars. That ain't you. That is not you, right? So don't look at that as that's the exception, okay? And that's fine.
Right.
That's what he's got going on, and you know, who knows what struggles he's going on in his own personal life. So, you know, more power to him, and bless him, and hopefully he gets on the right track, and maybe he is already. But if that's not you, don't look at it and say like, oh, why can't that? Why does he get all these? Why does he get all that? That's not you. That's not you.
Right.
You know what I mean? So maybe you're the one who's going to have to struggle more. Maybe you're the one who's going to have to work harder. Maybe you're going to want to have to do that. That's fine. Be inviting of that. Don't fight it all the time. Don't fight the struggles that you're going through, because they're not going to go away. They'll just keep punching you back, right? And learn to fight them, and you learn to go, okay, these struggles, I need to turn those around to make those not struggles, and I can control those struggles. If you can do that at a young age, at a very young age, because it gets to a certain point that if those aren't taken care of, there's almost no recovery from that. you meet 30, 40-year-old somethings, and you're like, oh, you're like in a whole different spectrum. Like, you don't want to hear nothing from nobody. Like, you're in this whole type, and who knows what they went through too to get there. And I guarantee that those demons that they had, they never learned how to control them. And if kids can learn how to control them at a young age, they'll be better off, better husbands, better, better fathers, better whatevers, right? I mean, just they got to learn to be disciplined and control those things. And if they can find avenues or people to help them get there, then, more power to it.
Most definitely. Yes. Yes.
Oh, I know. I talk too much.
So much. No. Thank you so much.
That was great. I mean, you answered a lot of the questions that we had. I mean, as moms, like we said before, we would call each other like, okay, the next one is coming up to get ready to go to college. What did you do? Or did this cost the same, or are you going through this? Did you go through the same thing? Because we like to share information, because a lot of times, what we found is that it was hard to find someone to connect, to give us any type of resource. We kind of had to dig and find and trial and error and build, and as to why we wanted to build a network to kind of make it so that people felt comfortable, because a lot of times too, you don't feel comfortable asking, because you don't really know that person like that, or you don't even know if they're going to give you solid information and things of that nature. So it was just like, but you gave some good points on coaching and what parents should look for when helping their children, thinking of what schools they're going to go to, and talking with coaches, and all of those things are important. And I'm glad that we were able to bring it out and on the forefront and share with everyone, because I know those were some of our struggles in trying to, because like I said, I learned the game as my son played. So whatever sport he played, that's what I learned. I was there, and I was the mom talking to the coaches. His father did as well, but I was the one that, because his father worked a lot and things of that nature. So I was the one taking them to the games and things and making sure, and it was funny because some coaches would be looking like, your mother, to the point where my son would be like, Mom, don't talk to the coach unless I say it's okay.
He is putting you in place.
Yeah, that's good.
And I'm like, okay, son, I got you.
Hey, closed mouths don't get fed, though. I mean, I always, like I said, I didn't mind talking to parents. I mean, it's, like I said, it was their kid, and I always thought it was just it was a way that they deserve the respect too, to, if they have questions, because not everyone knows exactly what's going on. I mean, and the recruiting process can be so difficult, and there's so many camps and so much money that parents spend going here. And a lot of it's, because camps, you want to take these, how many, are you a 3-star athlete? Are you a 4-star athlete? I mean, it's to go. So just real quick for camps, if you have a kid, he's in high school and he wants to go to a camp to get recruited, any camp that's not run on that actual college campus, college recruiters or coaches can't go. They can't go to those. They don't go to any camps that aren't on their campus. So they're not going to be seen by a college coach. They're going to be seen by these camp gurus, or these guys are going to take your $150 registration and then say that, you're this 2-star. They're going to put you on this profile or whatever. They're not being seen by the coaches. They're not, because they're not allowed to go to any other camps. So if your kid wants to go to, say he wants to go to Stanford, right? That's the school I want to go to. Go to a camp at Stanford where the coaches can see him, not a camp that's $200 here, $100 here, $200 there, $300 there. Oh, we get your kid recruited. We get your kid recruited. Well, who are you? Are you a coach? No, I'm so and so. Like if I ran a camp, I'm B Elite. I run the camp and I'll get you recruited. How are you going to help me get recruited, right? I mean, find out the ways, like how are you going to do that? Do you put it on like a website, and then do coaches see that? Or is there like a profile deal? Do you have, you know what I mean? Because there's so many people out there just getting money from parents, because, sports is not going away anytime soon. And kids aren't going away anytime soon. And paying for their kids to get better is not going to go anywhere anytime soon. So there's people who make a lot of money just doing that, right? So I really want to help with the process, right? I want to help with, you know, because I did it at such a high level and saw parents pay people these, you know, $2,000, $3,000, $4,000 to help get their kid recruited. And it, you know, it was just a waste of money and a waste of time just because they weren't knowledgeable on, and not no fault to the parent. They were just trying to do what's better, but they just got bad information, and it was just not the right thing to be doing. You know what I mean? And then also being real with their kid, like, let me watch film. Let me look at him. Okay, this is where I think that he's at. I'm going to tell you the things that you may not want to hear, right? I'm going to tell you things that he may need to get better at. And can he make it? Maybe yes, no, or, you know, he's going to have a lot of work. You know, he wants to go to University of Miami. That's probably not going to happen. I'm just going to be, you know. So, you know, I got to be honest with people too. And not enough people are like, well, yeah, I can get him there. I can get him to the league. No problem. You're just like, really? I mean,
I feel like you're setting the kid up for failure. Just be transparent and be honest, because when they get out there and they practicing, they're going to tell them the truth out there. When they get to, you know, those coaches aren't going to be like coodling them and holding their hand and, you know, whatever. They're going to tell them the truth. And then they're going to be like, look, oh my God.
And it's not to say that kid may never get there, because, I mean, those kids hit growth spurts, or they get bigger, stronger, faster at a different age. They mature at a different time, right? That's few that actually happens. But there are some. So you don't say that's never a possibility. You say, where you're at right now, no. So we're going to need to do this, this, and this, and it still might be kind of hard, but let's get after it. But here's your other options, right? Right. We're going to work. We're going to work for the University of Miami, right? We're going to work like we're going to try to get there. But if that doesn't happen, I guarantee you can go to this Division II school, or this NAIA school, or this Division III school. There's money for you, and we can get you here. And there's grants, and there's all these things. We can get you, you know, your FAFSA, all this stuff that we can put together, and you can play football. And then maybe you get really good there, and then, you know, people go to the NFL from Division III schools, from Division II schools. So there's an avenue to get there, but just because you didn't get to that, well, I want to go to University of, it's the Ohio State or break or nothing. Well, then it's going to be nothing. So, I mean, because that's your mindset, and that's just a different
journey. Everybody has their own unique
journey, and you got to be open and flexible. That's one thing I've learned. You definitely got to be open and flexible. You know, because you can be.
I'm having a little bit of connection problem. I hope I can. Can you guys hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Yeah. Can you hear us? She'll jump back on. Okay. But yeah, it's just I think that, you know. Can you hear me now? Can you hear?
I see you.
I can. Whoop whoop. Okay. Sorry about that.
So
a little shaky on StreamYard.
I forgot what I was saying.
What's your website, Kenny?
Oh, yes. What is your website?
BeEliteAthlete.com. BeEliteAthlete.com.
Okay. So I think she's going to try to put it up there. This way people can reach out to you. And you said you do personal training as well, right? With individuals that are outside of like the high schoolers,
high school, college,
college, okay.
Well, since the whole COVID thing, I was doing stuff on people with Zoom and just creating plans, and, you know, same thing, talking about recruiting, or whether it's creating a workout that they can go do, you know what I mean, on their own, because in a different state, but just creating and organizing a plan for them to get on and to be on, and then monitoring that as well if I can't be there in person, right?
Gotcha.
And like I said, working out a payment plan where it's something, even, you know, I got a college kid that, you know, he just pays me what he has. Like I said, you know, so it's, I mean, look at it, you know, some people can afford a little bit more, some can't. So it's all about talking about it. At the end of the day, it's just helping. And like I said, I think it'll pay in the long run, right? Most I think first they got to see if it's actually working. I mean, you know, so I believe in that process too. It's like, okay, well, let me create something for you, see if you like it. And if you do, let's run with it. If not, then, you know, all's good.
Well, you're such a blessing. And it's good that you are giving back and helping those athletes and individual with not even on the field, but outside of the field, and just in life in general, because I think that's the most important thing that, you know, an athlete can take away besides learning the game. Because like you said, you can learn the game anywhere, but learning to be just a good human being, you know, and have respect and be able to, like you said, you know, show up on time and pay bills and be an upstanding young man or young lady is very important. And I feel, that's what you're teaching, athletes and within the program and just in general, you're within coaching, period. So we appreciate that. And as mamas,
thank you so much.
We support you.
Yes. Cheers. Yes, thank you so much. We're going to share.
Oh, yeah, your daddy cup.
Your daddy cup. We're going to share your information. We'll keep, the next week, just go real heavy. Anything any programs that you guys have coming up, we'll highlight it. All of your locations, because we're worldwide, you never know who may catch on. I hope we got the website. I will definitely get that from you. I think I lost connection, but I'll grab that from you as well. We'll continue to post that. But thank you so much for taking the time tonight and speaking with us. We really, really, really appreciate
it. Thank you so much, cousin.
Thank you guys. I really appreciate it. This was awesome, man. So hopefully it was a little bit helpful, and I just enjoyed the conversation in general. So love you, cousin.
Very helpful.
We enjoyed the conversation, and thank you so much. We're going to continue to support, and then maybe we'll have you come back once come back again, during football season, and maybe we could talk some more for on some athletes and what's going on during the season. We'll have some players.
Yeah.
Yes, I'll have some players to share with you. So that'll be good. That'll be great. Have a wonderful night. Take care, and we'll be in touch.
Thank you. Love you.
Bye. Love you too. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Bye.
Good luck with the program.
Thanks. I'll talk to you guys soon. Okay.
Okay.
All right.
So,
that was awesome. Thank you so much to Kenny, Nikwa's cousin. Yes, lots of good information, guys. So I hope you enjoyed the chat. We will chat and posting it, that it's exciting and that you guys tune in. Again, I'm going to reiterate that we have our first Journey Right outing of 2021 coming up on August the 8th. It's going to be in Orlando for and wine and music. So if you're interested, hit me up. Right now we have about 10 ladies interested in going, and we're doing a Afro-centric derby hat theme. It's gonna be loads of fun. So
wow,
y'all let me know if you're interested. I'll send some information
that sounds
out.
Like fun.
Yes,
very creative. I like that. Yes, I still got my mug. Yes, but you don't know what's in that mug though. No.
Yes, girl. Don't know what's in the mug. Yes. Was it anything else you wanted to end with, Nikwa, before we end our live?
No, thanks for joining us, guys. I know that, we and joining us on this journey. We really, really appreciate it. Thank you. And we like Toya said, we have some exciting things coming up, and it's going to be some good times. That the event, Journey Right event on August 8th, correct? You said August 8th?
Yes.
August 8th, that's exciting.
Yes.
So, if you guys can, attend, please do so. It's going to be awesome. It's definitely going to be an awesome time. It's time for women to get together and connect. So good times. But I think that's it. I hope everyone has a beautiful weekend, a safe weekend. Enjoy, and a good week next week. I don't think that's
I'm in and out over here, so
I know.
So that's y'all.
All I have. Love you guys.
Y'all have a good night. We'll go ahead and end it. All right.
Bye.